say very much about Inelia. We're just so thankful that she's here. You've checked her website, her videos, and her course is wonderful. If you haven't done that, please explore that. And with that, I don't need to say anything else. I don't think your spirit and your energy is just so lovely, and we're just so thankful to have you here. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Move it forward a little bit, I think. Yeah.
You want to stand or sit?
Yes, stand. There. Hi. My name is Inelia Benz, and I'm here to raise the vibrational level of the planet. And how do we do that? Well, through my investigations and living here for one lifetime, I kind of had to look around, investigate, read, study to see how do we do it? How do we do this the most efficient way? How can we all get on with it? And growing up, I had teachings that I looked at and I thought, that doesn't sound right. Because, for example, when I was given some books by my grandmother about saints. And it was all about the saint doing something to others, to the group, and, lifting them or something. And then I thought, maybe if I could take the suffering from everybody on the planet into myself, because I can't stand it, that would do it. Of course, I got a little bit of suffering, I got a taste of it, and I go, oh my God, no, that's not going to work. And then, so I tried different things, and then I copped on that wasn't the idea, that wasn't the point. It wasn't about me healing others or lifting their vibration or anything. It was about getting information and tools that everybody could grab and do it themselves. And why? Why was it that way? Because in the past, the other method worked perfectly well. We have historical figures that came into the planet and would lift the vibration of their people, And so why is it different? Because the shift that we're going through, and we have been going through for several years now, it's about like a graduation into a new experience, a new human experience. And how is it different? So, for example, this one requires all of us to be empowered and to be able to lift our vibration and move on to the new paradigm, the new experience here. And we can do it right away. We don't have to wait until 2012, right? We don't have to wait. We can do it right away and start manifesting that new reality in our own personal lives. And the more of us that do it, the more it becomes prevalent in the collective. So what's the main difference? It's, for example, you want to graduate from college, and you send somebody else in to do the course for you. That doesn't work. So, somebody else is studying for 4 years, and then they come out and they do all the exams and they get their little certificate, I'm a graduate. And then they say, all right, give it to me, And it's not, so it's like that type of energies. Each one of us has to graduate. Each one of us has to take on that goal of raising our personal vibration, expanding our personal awareness, and then we can start experiencing that new paradigm in our own personal lives. We have synchronistic events, we have things that are magical happen in our lives, and it's all about looking back inside of us, not looking out there, not looking at me or somebody else to do it for us. Yeah, I'm here and I'm in front of here, and that's the only difference between us, really, because I'm presenting a mirror and saying, look, this is what you can do. And once you start doing it yourself, you'll turn around into everybody you know, and you'll say, look, this is what you can do, So it kind of spreads, it's like one of those chain reactions. And everybody here in this room is here for the same reason, is to raise the vibrational level of the planet. It might come through sometimes thinking, well, I want to raise my own vibration, or I can't do the planet because mine is so low, and things like that. But that's all ego, right? That's nothing to do with what we're here to do. That's just learnings and patterns and things that we've been taught. And even we've had thousands of years as a species telling us that somebody else has to do it. Somebody has to come, the knight in shining armor, to save us, or Jesus, or Buddha, or somebody else, right? To come in and save us, or ETs nowadays, And it's not about that. I mean, it is, yeah, they exist and, you know, they want to help, but it's not about saving us. It's about collaboration. We collaborate. It's just like we were collaborating with our family or relatives, cousins. And that's what they are, really. You know, they're not deities. They're not here to save us, because it's the same thing. If an individual needs saving, it means they haven't graduated yet. That's it. It's as simple as that. And the way to graduate is to do the work. You know, you do your 20 minutes meditation a day. Oh, I can't meditate, it's really hard. Do it. Just do it. Also, Yoda that says, do or not do, but do not try. Right? And so basically, we're here to learn these things, to learn the tools. And it took me, as an individual, because I have a human life, I have a human history, 45 years, I'm 45 years old, and I lived in all sorts of different situations. I've had experiences that will teach me why it's necessary for us to lift the vibrational level of the planet. And more, it has come to very key ingredients. There's no mystery. There's nothing extraordinary that we have to do. It's very, very simple. And it's baby steps, right? We do it a little bit at a time. We do a tiny little bit here and a tiny little bit there. There's several things that we can do. We can deal with for example, we can deal with the most effective tool that I've discovered personally to raise one's personal vibration and also the collective vibration is to process our fears. And I don't know how many of you are familiar with the fear processing exercise. Yeah. Okay. So there's a lot of people who need to learn it. And the full text of the fear processing exercise is on the website, the ascension11.com website. It's under tools, and you scroll down, and the full text is there. So there's no excuses. It's really, really simple, and we're going to do it right now, a little one, and to see how we get on. So basically, this is not going to be. We're going to do a little collective meditation later, but this is just a really short one for ourselves. So we're going to close our eyes. Just breathe and relax into your chair. And then think about something that you're afraid of. So think about something. It could be bees, spiders, losing your job, losing your home. Loss usually triggers fear in our body and also our being, our soul being. So look for it now. Just sit there with it, and it's come up. It came up somewhere. Mine came up around here in my back. And so once we find it, we don't try to analyze it. That's the first thing that goes away. We don't analyze it. We simply look at it, and we allow it to be there. So let's just look at that fear that came up somewhere in our energy field or in our body. It could be our tummy, it could be our chest, our head. And let's just look at it. Sometimes it will come up like a pain or a knot. And we'll say, fear, you're welcome here. And we allow it to be there. And that might bring up a little bit of resistance, but that's okay. And we just say again, fear, you're welcome here. And we allow it to exist. We acknowledge it. And we say, grow. See how big you can get. Sometimes it will grow and get bigger and bigger and bigger. And sometimes it will just stay the same size. And now, we'll just continue looking at it. And we're going to start bringing light and love in as we breathe in. And as we breathe out, we send that light and love into that packet of fear that's in our field. Lots of light and love to free it, because it's just stuck energy, it's enslaved energy. And as we look at it and we send it light and love, we then embrace it. And we can feel the joy and the gratitude. Thank you. Right, we're can open our eyes. It's all good? So that's a very simple little exercise that we can do every day. Whenever something makes us afraid, or just because, we look for it, we look for a fear, we find it and we process it. And every time we process one of those fears, and one fear might take like a few days to get through, we raise our vibrational level, because fear is the lowest vibration that we can have in our bodies and in our fields. That's the lowest denominator, and as soon as you remove it, everything, like if you do your math, it will go up naturally. So we don't have to worry about anything else. And why don't we reject it? Why don't we make it go away? Because the low vibration, say you have, I've been learning the violin, so I'm going to talk about the violin. So you have your violin, and it has the strings. And one of the strings, for example, is really flat, right? And you're trying to play your violin, and it goes, and there's this flat string, You don't just grab it and pull it away and throw it out, right? because that you won't be able to make full music with it. What you do is you tune it up. It's the same string, it's the same energy, but you raise the vibrational level of it. And once you have it in the right note, then you can start playing it. You make beautiful music. And that's our bodies, this is our fields, and this is our instrument. And all the vibrations that are in it, once we integrate it backwards, once we tune it, we raise it. And what happens, once we start raising the vibrational level of our own bodies, our own fields, then we can actually concentrate sometimes on external things, Something that triggers us, a war, for example, or something that happened in our city, or something that's happened in our yard. We look at it, and energetically, we look at it, and we sit with it, and say, the energy that happened, whatever happened, you're welcome here. I allow you to exist in my space. I allow you to be here. And then you start infusing it with light and love. Right? So you can do this every single day. That's a really cool little exercise that will help lift the vibrational level of your own life and those around you as well. And I've had the question of, well, if somebody's being a real pain to me and it's really annoying me, shall I do that with them? Shall I, embrace them? And, it says, no. That's their responsibility, okay? The person that's being a pain, it's their pain that they're expressing. Yes, once you're affected, once you get that effect in your own field and you get annoyed or sad or angry or whatever comes up in your own field when that person's doing that, that's your responsibility. And that's what you process. That's what you can dig in there and start working with. So when things happen that trigger you, say, thank you, right, now I can process this out of my life, And so it's not about the other person teaching you lessons. It's not about that at all. It's about us processing our programs and processing our own energies and our own reactions, and then being able to choose how I react in different situations. So that's what empowerment means, is being able to have the power or ability to respond to life and to actually choose what type of life we want to have. And the other thing, for example, I get asked a lot, is about the ego. So because the ego is very troublesome. Why is it troublesome? Because in our society, it's overstimulated. It's all the time. It's just, we get bombarded with ego things. You have to walk a certain way. You have to dress a certain way. It's all about image, being better than the other person. This educational system is all about competition. So we've been taught right from the word go about separation. We've been separated from other beings. That sense of I'm better than you, or I'm not as good as you. That's all ego separation. And that's not actually natural for the human species. It's not natural for a human being to be really separate from others. If you take one human being and you put them in a deserted island away from all other human beings, even if you leave the food and water and drink, everything that you need to survive, but no ways of communicating with anybody else on the planet, that person will go crazy and probably die. The majority of people will go through that. Why? Because humans are not a separate entity. That's the illusion. And why have we been overstimulated on that separation? Divide and conquer. That's why. right? So the negative entities or whatever, or the other experience that we chose as a species to have, was about dividing us and conquering us and use power over others. And you can't have power over others if you have a united front. You can only have it if you have them all spread around, running in different directions. And so as the vibrational level of ourselves starts rising up, we start connecting more with others. We start connecting more with the planet. And it starts to break down that that sense of not being able to do, the helplessness that we often feel as a one person. How can I do such and such? Or maybe I won't do that because there's hundreds of other people doing it. You know, it's like those are all the separation, ego kind of mentalities that have been brought into us and we've been taught. So basically what we are naturally as a species is a species that communicates with each other. Here, all of us here in this room right now are communicating at every second. The way we are dressed is a form of communication. The way we sit is a form of communication, whether we're wearing makeup or not, or earrings or not, or glasses, the way we wear our hair, everything is a form of communication to other humans, right? It's not to our pets or, you know, or Gaia, it's to communicate with other humans. All good communication, all ways of saying, giving information about ourselves so others can see us and recognize us and acknowledge us, and then we can see them too. And then there's human bodies need a lot of communication. Human bodies love to be touched, love to be gazed and listened to, and they love to hear other people, other human bodies. They love to hear their voices. And that's why, for example, when somebody dies, even though we might be psychic and they're standing right next to us, we sort of go, oh, you know, that happened to me when my mom died, you know, I was going, oh no, I can't stand it, you know, she was standing right there. And then I got it. It was about the body, you know, and so yeah, our physical bodies need communication. You need to be here and to listen and to be heard and to touch and all those things. And also, there's some people who don't like technology, but I have to say something. The natural state of the human being is one, when I look back in history and see what's a natural human, and it's a being who can actually communicate telepathically with anybody on the planet at any time, whenever they feel like it. And now we're doing that. We have cell phones, right? So we carry them with us all the time, and we can communicate with anybody, anywhere in the planet at any time. So we've made up for it. But now the work we're doing, we're going to go back to our natural state so that we can communicate with anybody we choose, anywhere in the planet, instantly. And then another example, for example, the natural human being, whenever a person needed information, they could just download it straight into their awareness and use that information as they needed. And what do we have now? We have the internet. So we just, go into a search engine and other humans have placed that information there so we can access it. So we naturally do it. We naturally love to share information. We naturally leave it there for other people to access. We naturally like to access that information and use it for ourselves, whether it's cooking pancakes or the next zero-energy device that we want to install in our home. We look for it and look, is it out there yet? Has somebody put it out there yet? And so we access it that way. Now the collective, the human collective, is this marvelous, fantastic consciousness. And even though we may think, well, we're all separate right now, and maybe we're a little afraid of becoming a human collective that's all connected to each other, we might feel a little bit afraid of losing our individuality. There's no reason to, because we keep it. It just becomes bigger, right? It becomes a bigger individuality. So we can tap into this, just like if you had an inbuilt cell phone and a computer access, you're still yourself, right? When right now you don't become the other people that placed all that information there, and you don't become the person you're communicating with, but you have access to them. So once we start becoming like that, more aware that that's our natural state, the fear will go down. But as we process our fears, it also, gets us to that level also very quickly. And the collective has never changed. It's the human collective and the planetary collective that asks for requests and brings us people and technology that we want, right? So the human species couldn't do without that instant communication with everybody on the planet. It just wasn't functioning right. And the collective called in all that technology for us to use. And it was the collective that pulled me into becoming to this incarnation to do this work. And it was the collective that pulled in all these other fantastic beings from other planets or other dimensions into human form so they could incarnate right now through this shift to make it easier for the entire human collective to go through this shift, to graduate, right? It's like, for example, imagine we're in the university but ready to graduate, and it gets, bombarded, right? It starts getting bombarded, and maybe part of the graduation is to say, oh, I don't agree with this bombardment, and it goes away, But it's without knowing that little bit of detail, you would just go, whoa, boom, you're gone. And then you have to start again, right? So many people, there has never been, I'll say a little bit more first, a lot of people talk about the end of the world kind of thing, or, earthquakes and the poles changing sides and lots of horrible things happening around. It brings up a lot of fear. And there's two things about that. One of them is that that's happening all over the world. People are dying all over the world right now. As I was speaking, thousands of people around the planet have died, right? Some of them peacefully, some of them in horrendous ways. Because that's the experience that they came or they wanted to have, or somehow they had that experience, so they agreed with it. Now, everybody that's in this room is going to die too. But not at the same time, right? We're going to take some of us, another 60 or so years. And maybe, one of us or more of us will be gone tomorrow, We don't know. And that's part of the game, it's not knowing and enjoying the game, the process. And basically, the whole thing about what's going to happen in 2012, or the fear about the horrible things that might happen, is not about, no, nothing's going to happen. Because things happen all the time. And there's things happening right now. And yeah, maybe things will get really intense if the collective decides that it's agreeing with a pole shift and lots of earthquakes everywhere. It will happen, But that doesn't mean that we have to run away. It doesn't mean that we have to be afraid before it happens. Or that we have to get lots of food in case, it happens or whatever. What it means is basically that we have to tap into ourselves, process our fear all about that situation, process all our fears about it, and then we are going to be wherever it is that we're going to be needed the most. That's exactly where we're going to be if anything did happen, right? Because, for example, I was in Ecuador recently, and I talked about this before. Somebody said, you're going back to California. I said, don't go back there, it's going to fall into the ocean in about 2 days or something. And I was leaving, and I said, I'll get a surfboard then, But it felt very strongly, well, if there's going to be a lot of instability somewhere, then I better be there to help stabilize the place, right? And and I've lived through some really bad earthquakes when I was very little in Chile. And I can say that the human species, the natural reaction of the human species is when something like that happens, people unite and they help each other. And, it's wonderful. It's really, really great. But obviously really don't need that lesson. We all think we've graduated past it. We don't need to suffer or have really horrible things happen to us so we can unite as a species. We really don't need it. So we can say no to that one. And we can say yes to having a very smooth transition. And how do we do it? Each of us, again, going back to the first few things that I said, we go back and we do it ourselves. And we make the transition ourselves. And we look around and we have our synchronistic events and we have our manifestations and we start living in joy all the time, that kind of, happy feeling. And if we wake up and we're depressed, or I get really grumpy if I haven't eaten, for example. And so, for my own example, I haven't had any food for it, and I get really grumpy, and it runs in the family, doesn't it, Daniela? We get like really, really grumpy, like bear. And what do I do? When I was younger, I used to snap at people and say, "Don't talk to me, I'm making some food." Or, like, "Wow, where's my food?" Now when I see it coming, when I see it kind of getting grumpy, I'm getting grumpy. Okay, body, what's wrong? What's going on? You haven't fed me. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Okay, I'll get you some food right away. And immediately you feel that joy of the body saying, "Oh, I've been acknowledged. I've been listened to. Okay, I'm going to get some food soon, so I'm really happy." And so that goes away. It's acknowledging what happens at each moment. So it's not about being happy all the time. Although I am kind of happy all the time. But I do get those moments, right? I get those moments. And if I lost somebody, if I lose a friend. Sorry, but I think I touched the mic. If I lose a friend, my body really feels it, I feel that too, that sense of, and I cry and I cry. I cry really easily, I cry all the time. If I don't eat, my blood sugar goes low, I get really grumpy. And the other thing as well, and something that goes, and I've noticed that it's actually quite universal for all our bodies. My personal body becomes extremely vulnerable if I haven't slept, if I haven't eaten, and I'm dehydrated, right? If those three things come together, I can be taken down, just like that, right? Gone. I'm extremely vulnerable at that moment to anything negative, and also other entities, right? Other people. And so we have to really watch and take care of our bodies. Our bodies are very much our best tool on this planet right now. I call it, many people talk about the secret artifacts, right? Like what secret artifacts are in the pyramids, and the secret artifacts that are hidden under bases around the planet. And yeah, they exist, I believe so. Some of them are being used for negative aims and some of them for positive. But none of those artifacts go anywhere near as powerful as each of our bodies, right? Each of our bodies are these amazing, fabulous, fantastic, powerful artifacts. So we get into it, we detoxify our bodies, we listen to our bodies, we get fit, right? We start walking, we start eating well and taking care of it, right? We don't indulge too much in alcohol and chocolate and smoking and stuff, right? Obviously we can do those things, but not in excess, and only when, we're in a space where we can do it. And so then we start bringing on, and we talk to our body and say, okay, you can start switching on now, the artifacts, the ways we can do it. And another magical thing, and one of the secrets that they don't want you to know, is that when we're here as a group with the same intention, we have all those artifacts connecting energetically, and we can really shift stuff, we can really do things. We can do things for ourselves, we can do like healings, and we can also, tap directly into the collective and do stuff. I don't know how many of you have listened to the collective meditation that we did. Yeah, a few. Yeah, that's also on the website. There's a meditation for the collective. It's very specific, right? And I can't really repeat it because when the meditations come through, I'd kind of step out of the way. So I have to listen to it myself when I do it. now, right? I actually have to listen to it because I don't recall how it went. And so if you can, that would be another bit of homework that I could give you, seeing as I'm up here. And to go in there and get that downloaded and listen to it. It's in various little pieces. It's in the tools section. You can press a little button there and listen to it or download it. There's an iPod thing that you can go in if you have an iPhone. Or even if you don't, I think you can actually listen to it on their website. Yeah, you can? Okay. And do it, I would ask you to do it once a day. But if you can't, just do it the one time, it's fine. And so, how are we doing for time?
1 more minute.
Oh, okay. Have 1 more minute. So in that 1 more minute, I would say the most important thing that I think we could all, I would like to share is basically a summary of what went before, right? Each of us is an extremely powerful being, and there's many institutions, beings, organizations that don't want you to know that. And they're stimulating fear at every level, through the media, through artificial amplifying devices, technology, through spreading gossip, not gossip, what's it called? Misinformation. Yeah, misinformation about things. Just to have the fear peaking, right? They don't allow it to go down. So it could be something new every week or every month. But it'll be something that will come up, especially through the alternative community, and it'll just spread. And if you read something that you react with fear to, or even anger, step back, step right back. It might be true, it might be false. It doesn't matter, because a lot of the time they use stuff that's true, right? A war or whatever. So you step right back and you process that. You process what the emotions came up inside of you. You process it and you process it. It might take days again. I mean, I hear about stuff and it takes about a week to process it, because it really bugs me. And then after you do that, then you have that space of, how am I going to react to this? Am I going to react to it at all? Am I going to do something about it at a physical level or not, And that's a huge empowerment, because we're not agreeing with the waves of fear. We're actually helping the collective. And in October the 28th or 29th, was it September? It was September, actually. Yeah, it was the end of September, when there was going to be supposedly this comet coming through, and there was a wave of fear that you could sense. Anybody who's sensitive or empathic would feel the fear in the air. And they were pumping it through all sorts of things. They put in a lot of things in the news about the economy at the same time, and all sorts of things about a war or something. I can't remember exactly how many things they put out, but they really went for it. And it was tangible on the collective. The fear was tangible, especially in California and these areas, right? And I was meant to be traveling on the 26th or something, and for some amazing, weird reasons, I wasn't able to get on the plane. So I stayed for about a week, actually. Yeah, I stayed for another week. So all that time period, I was actually here. And it was all about just centering and concentrating. Not concentrating, that's the wrong word. Just centering, going into that calm, altered state, and just stabilizing that energy on the collective. Once it was done, everything worked out. I flew out, right? And so this is the tools that we can use both for ourselves and to help the collective. And even if something's being done artificially, even if it's an artificially enhanced fear wave that is hitting your house or your city at that time, and you can sense it, you can fear, and you don't know why you're afraid or whatever, you can process it, and it works, right? It really works. You might still feel the vibration. You might feel like a burning hot vibration in your physical body, but it's not fear anymore. It's completely deactivated. They can't use it, and then you can just spread the love to help those around you, right? So we're going to do a 20-minute meditation. If you need to go to the restroom, that would be a good time. If you're everybody okay? Yeah? All right, before we start, we're going to stand up and we're going to stretch because we're going to be sitting for 20 minutes. So if I was taller, you'd be able to see me. But so just, if you know a good stretching method, just use it. And stretch your legs and your back, right? Yeah, have a good yawn. All right. So this is how we take care of our bodies. We're we listen to our bodies. Okay, so let's sit down comfortably. If you prefer to sit on the floor, you might be able to go against one of the walls or something. All right, make sure your legs are getting lots of, the circulation's working properly, sitting nicely. All right, so close your eyes. We're going to take a really deep breath and we're going to take it right into the bottom of our bellies. As deep as you can get it. And breathe out. 2 more times. Okay, now we breathe normally. We're going to feel the chair against our body, against our back and our legs. And we're going to feel the air in our skin, on our face and our hands. And at this moment in time, we're going to welcome all our ultra-dimensional friends. All our entourages, our guides and angels, and also our cousins, our ET cousins, and also earthly cousins. As we sit, if there's somebody on your right, I would like you to say a greeting inside, an energetic greeting, and feel for them. If there's nobody on your right, then think about the person either in front or behind you. Now let's greet the person on our left, or in the back, or in front of us. Now we're going to expand our awareness and include everybody who's here in this room. You're welcome here. You're welcome in my space. I am willing to become one with you. If you feel any type of resistance, just look at the resistance. Just look at it, no judgment. Could be fear. We're just going to look at it. Resistance, you're welcome here. every sadness. Resistance, you're welcome here. Now we infuse it with light and love and embrace it. It is my intention to become one with everybody in this room. Now we're going to expand our awareness to encompass the entire library and everybody that's in it. And you allow them to exist in your space. And we have the intention, I'm willing to become one with you. We look at resistance. Resistance, you're welcome here. We infuse the resistance with light and love. And we are one. Now we expand our awareness to include the entire city. Everybody who is in Santa Barbara right now. Good, bad, and indifferent. We allow them in our field. We allow them in our being. If we have a resistance, you're welcome here. We infuse it with light and love. We become one. We expand our awareness and include everybody in California. Every being, human and non-human. If we have a resistance, you're welcome here. We infuse the resistance with light and love. We expand our awareness and our beingness to include all of the United States of America. And every person, every being, every species that's there. into our being. We allow them to exist. It is our intention to become one. If any resistance comes up, we look at it. Resistance, you're welcome here. It could come in forms of judgment, or fear, or sadness. We welcome you. And now infuse our resistances with light and love. Now we make a big jump of awareness and we encompass the entire planet. And we allow every being that's here to be part of us, to exist in our space. It's our intention to become one. We allow them to exist and express. Any resistance, you're welcome here. And we infuse the resistance with light and love. Now we're one, as a species, as a collective, as an individual, we're connected. And now we're going to visualize in this lifetime, in this experience, and very soon, clean, live oceans, clean, live air, clean, live earth. As we connect with Gaia, so we bring in light and love and infuse it into the planet, joining with her at her high vibration. And we see the light as it expands outwards from the inside, joining with us and beyond. We're going to sit here with that intention, that vision, and that joy for a few minutes. Any resistances that come up, we process them right away. And we feel Gaia's beautiful light as it touches us and goes through our bodies, which are part of her. And we feel the energy from Source as it passes through us and into this reality. And as the energies combine and spread outwards, it affects every human being on the planet. Healing us, healing them, shifting energies, cleansing. Now we're going to start coming back into our bodies. Keeping the connection. We feel the air in our skin. And we incarnate back. Feel the air in our hands. We feel the chair. Take a deep breath. And out. And when we're ready, we can open our eyes. That was really powerful. So that's a big boulder in the polyptic pond. Splash. And this is a tool we can use all the time. All right, we're going to stand up and stretch again. Arms, our legs too, let's not forget our legs. We can wiggle our bottoms. That's great, thank you so much for that. How are we doing for time? Oh, we have about nearly an hour. Yeah, okay. So the next bit we're going to do is we're going to do a group meeting. So what we're going to do is the first row of chairs is going to turn around and face the row behind. And then the third row will do the same and face the row behind, and so on and so forth. And then there's going to be, I think it's going to be groups of 10 people in each group. And what we're going to do is we're going to decide who's going to be the first person to introduce themselves to the group. And each person will have 5 minutes to either share their offerings, to talk about their experience here on the planet, or talk about their experience through the meditation, what they saw, what they felt, and also, or if they have a sort of pending issue or something, they can share it and see if they get some feedback. So each person will have 5 minutes, and then at the end we'll have each group can just talk about anything they like. And in the meantime, I'm going to come around and meet each group in person. Okay? All right, so we'll do that now.